20,000 is going to make it to heaven. They've got to knock somebody out of their spot now, and so they're working even harder than they did before. But we can admire that. The Mormons, elder and elder, they're probably 18 years old on their bikes with their white shirts and their ties, come to your door. I mean, we should be doing that. Their devotion is admirable, and to their religions. Uh, you know, uh, you have to admire people who are willing to die, to sacrifice their lives for their religions, even though it's chaotic and psychotic, and even psychopath. The psychopathy of it is interesting, but you know, a lot more people have a lot more depth for their beliefs than we do, and so that should be admired. As I was reading this, one of the things is with Alcoholics Anonymous, all of those, they want you to have a doorknob for your higher power, but a lot of people have found uh, Jesus just like Cornelius through those programs, and so it can be a place where God allows the Holy Spirit to lead them into knowledge about Jesus Christ. And so he was a devout man and one that feared God. He was not a Jewish proselyte in the strict sense of the term, but gravitated toward Judaism and could be called a proselyte of the gate. Today, we might say that he was a man who lived in the neighborhood, attended church on special occasions, was friendly toward the church, but was not actually a Christian. That could have been Cornelius. He feared God. He gave much alms to the people, means he gave many gifts of charity to the Jewish people. The nation Israel was always laid great stress upon giving. God had taught them this in the Old Testament. We speak of the tithe, but it is obvious from the Mosaic system that they actually gave 3/10. They gave for the running of the government, which was uh, a theocracy at the beginning. They gave for the maintenance of the temple, and they gave a tenth for all that they produce. So they have been giving and generous people. A kind of, they we tend to give up to nowadays 30% in taxes by the time you pay Social Security and all those things. The Lord said whenever that the kings tried to raise the taxes above to run the government above 10%. Uh, uh, Jeremiah said that was not a good thing, and so we are under that sort of excitement today. So if you're able to, and if you're got a paycheck where you're giving 30% to the government, maybe you might ought to think about how much you're giving to God. You probably should give him 30% and live on 30%. But anyway, it is interesting that even today, many of our El Lamosonary, that is, charitable foundations, were established by Jews. There is no group of people in our day that give as generously as does the Jewish community. It in its support of the nation of Israel, they are very generous people. Cornelius prayed to God always. This centurion took his need to God. He needed to have more light. He wanted it. He probably didn't really know too much about prayer,